you team up with the most evil thing in the universe, then you are the bad guy.
No, because it's for the greater good, like when Superman teamed up with Lex Luthor.
Superman never teamed up with Lex Luthor.
Well, that's why Superman isn't around anymore, isn't it?
The biggest question of today's episode: who the heck even is the Coon? It's Bruce Valanche, kitty. Catherine, I don't even know who that even is. I think he wrote the Star Wars Holiday Special, kitty. Oh, you mean he's B. Arthur? Kitty, just do the intro. Okay. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about South Park, or more specifically, the Coon and Mysterion. We are combining characters for video essays this time, guys. Now, South Park is all about parodies, since what better way to make fun of this world? And one thing I think we all consume on some level, come on, is superhero movies, with the rises and falls, and then rises and falls. South Park's version of superheroes is the Coon and Mysterion, and they've done plenty of episodes on the two of them. Heck, they even got their own video game, The Fractured Butthole. Oh my god, I just got that. I actually played that game during 2020 during the shutdowns. It was pretty fun, especially if you like South Park's callbacks. I just never got around to finishing it because I got busy with school and with this. But because I don't know how to take video game footage and transmit it to a MacBook, or even how to do it without copyright getting on me in my case, well, until that day, for now, we will merely be talking about the episodes themselves. So, let's discuss. The Coon and Mysterion first appear in the episode, aptly titled The Coon. And no, you can't say the Coon as in like the raccoon, or like Rocket Raccoon. You need to say the Coon.
The Coon.
The Coon is an episode meant to make fun of dark and gritty superhero movies, which thanks to Watchmen and The Dark Knight, were starting to become mainstream accepted, whereas nowadays you're almost, like, expected to do, to, like, some degree. Even something like Guardians, you need to. Recently, mostly for the attention and the fame that comes with it, rather than a sense of altruism or a crybaby backstory like most superheroes, Carbon has become a superhero named the Coon. The Coon fights on behalf of South Park for many reasons, such as...
Bad economy made things worse. The jobs started drying up. Then the stores had to shut down. Then a black man was elected president.
Fun fact, remember the episode Margaritaville, which, believe it or not, is one of my all-time favorite episodes, and I consider it one of their best? Well, that episode was originally supposed to be this, I'm not even kidding. Originally, the episode was supposed to be more comical, where instead of tackling the economy head-on, well, Carbon becomes the Coon in order to fight the economy, literally, as the recession was occurring at the time. He would have discovered the recession was caused by the sale of Margaritavilles, which would be a metaphor for the housing bubble bursting. If you don't know, a Margaritaville is that thing you buy at like Bed Bath & Beyond or Target that makes margaritas for you. I don't know, I never really bought one. And he would have fought Jimmy Buffett and Warren Buffett, who in this episode would be brothers, even though the two have no relation in real life. Which is funnier to me because if you watch the episode Tonsil Trouble, you would know that Carbon has a giant chip on his shoulder about Jimmy Buffett. However, the episode eventually got split in half because they needed to do a bunch of research for the recession idea, even teaming up with Matt Stone's father, who was an economist, and this episode focused on the fun superhero idea that they didn't really need a lot of help for. So Margaritaville, which was originally supposed to be the season premiere, instead got held over to like the middle of the season, whereas the Jonas Brothers, they came first because, hey. Anyhow, history lesson over, let's go to the episode. Carbon is a superhero, yada yada yada, I already established that. Carbon has become the Coon for one simple reason, I established it, but we should roll a clip anyways.
To clean the trash can of society, I've chosen to become more than a man. I am the hero this town needs. I am the Coon.
And likely also because of Rocket, albeit Rocket wasn't really well known outside of comic book nerds until his movies came out, so who knows. As expected, while South Park is a town full of crazy crime, well, most of the crime in this episode is mundane enough as to not require a superhero. So Carbon needs to invent a little crime for himself to make it seem like he has a need for himself. Oh, a happy couple, like kissing after a date, consensually? Clearly it's assault and battery against a woman.
Let her go!
Excuse me? Oh, it's a talking squirrel.
Ah!
Oh!
What I like is how Carbon has been doing this for so long that the cops don't even care. They just treat him as the nuisance that he is.
Don't let the city's peacefulness fool you, Commissioner. It's too quiet.
Oh, not this kid again.
Hey, you get out of here. Out.
And firm reminder that when properly motivated, the cops of South Park are actually capable of doing their damn job. Even in this exact scene, Sergeant Yates told them to just file the paperwork because, hey, they got some time to kill. Better to get work out of the way.
Here's the file on that Rodriguez case, Detective.
All right, things are pretty quiet out there, boys. Let's try to get caught up on some paperwork.
So yes, they have a right to be pissed since all Cartman is doing is distracting them from actually doing their jobs. And hey, paperwork sucks, but you gotta do it. And they'd be well within their rights to arrest him, both because he's causing problems, he's distracting them, he's obstructing justice, and because of other reasons I probably haven't mentioned.
Make sure all your men get a look at these, Detective.
What's in here?
That reason! He didn't go there to help the people, he went there to plug his merch. The next day, Cartman goes to test the waters at school and see if anybody knows about the Coon, and it's a grand total of no one but him.
You're Kyle!
Dude, what? Why do you care?
Oh,
Oh no, Cartman, you are not allowed to say that word, unless you're referring to dirty, loud motorcycle men. And even then, you're not supposed to. I don't really know how to feel about that episode. Some superhero you are.
well, I'm just mad because you should never use the term Kyle. That's a hate word, and it's insensitive to butt pirates.
I'm moving on, but you're on thin ice, dude. In school, Cartman advertises a meet and greet for the Coon, and of course, nobody's interested, not even Clyde Donovan. And at this meet and greet, he does meet somebody, Mysterion.
Who the hell are you?
I'm an angel keeping watch over the city at night. As violence and darkness take over the streets, I work to rid the city of crime.
Well, funny story, actually. Mysterion is... Okay, you know what? I'll just save it for the end. Isn't it, Kenny? I'll save it for the end, you chatty Cappy. Strangely, that moniker fits here. Mysterion is... How do I put it this way? Kenny? Shut it. Mysterion is South Park's answer to the Dark Knight, a dark, gritty villain who actually does clean up the town. In BTW, The Dark Knight was a sequel that's probably more well-known than the original, just saying. Also, they filmed it in Newark, so I just want to put that out there. I don't know if they filmed the second one. I knew they filmed the third one, though. I was almost an extra on the set. Same with Joker. Anyhow, Mysterion's whole thing is he is altruistic, and he does do his job unlike Cartman, but in the process, he goes on these long-winded rants about justice and hope and other stupid crap like that.
I cannot stand here and make idle conversation any longer. The city needs my help. They are innocents to protect.
No!
One of Batman's trademarks, and one of the things they made fun of Christian Bale Batman for, is the deep voice he uses to disguise his real one, even if it makes him sound like Beetlejuice if Beetlejuice ate gravel cigarettes, and Mysterion has this down to bat. As a result, Cartman can't really determine who Mysterion is, although he has a few guesses.
Dan, is that you? It is you, isn't it? Clyde, you're not a superhero, I am. Kyle would be a buzzkill and try to steal my thunder. You don't care about stopping crime, you're just doing this because you hate me, Kyle.
What doesn't help is that I might get some flag for this. I know, I do try to be progressive, but I have to point it out, I'm sorry. Is that every kid on South Park looks the exact same face-wise, with some minor changes here and there. Like, you remember that episode where they played baseball? Yeah, apparently because all the kids look the same, it was very hard for them to keep track of who was who and to make it clear to the audience who was who. And with their hair covered, outside of somebody like Timmy, Jimmy, or Token, or heck, even Tweak, it can literally be anybody. Heck, considering this is South Park, it can even be a girl, doing a really good impression. They do not discriminate. Even Wendy said it. The only giveaway is the voice, and even that doesn't really narrow it down.
I might be Craig, and then again I might not be. My identity must remain a secret. You cannot know.
Yeah, well, you cannot know my true identity either.
For the record, Mysterion is voiced by Matt Stone, which I think makes it funnier considering how, outside of Clyde and Stan, the possible candidates Cartman names are characters that Matt voices. Like, he doesn't even know how close he is. But South Park has been known to flip-flop voice actors in the past. I mean, Kenny, when he's wearing his hood, is voiced by Matt Stone, but when he isn't wearing it, he's voiced by Eric Stogge.
What the I mean...
What the
So that's not really a good indicator either. Considering Mysterion knows what type of a person Cartman is, he doesn't really feel obligated to give his real identity away, since Cartman will either just rat him out to the cops or make his life a living hell or both. So he goes away to do his job of being a vigilante, while Cartman tries to jumpstart his fan club when he has absolutely zero fans.
How is it that nobody came to CoonCon 09?
Oof, sorry dude. Maybe you should have teamed up with Mysterion. I hear the whole, trickle over effect would have helped. Which is kind of ironic when you think about it. If Cartman was serious about actually helping people, I'm sure Mysterion would put whatever vitriol he has of Cartman aside and team up with him. After all, they would both want the same things. But Cartman didn't become a superhero because he wants to help people. He became one for the fame. And as Mysterion knows who Cartman is on some level and how he doesn't hide his identity all that well, plus he's too recognizable, I hate to say, well, why team up with him? Dude, you're digging your own grave further and further.
Aren't you that little boy who had his Ginger Pride rally and his AIDS benefit here before?
No, I'm not that kid!
Oh, really? Oh, my bad.
I love callbacks like that, and whenever I stay at an airport hotel or a Hilton, this scene always plays in my head. While Cartman's underground reputation fails before it began, Mysterion's rises. Oh, this is a fun episode. And he actually makes a name for himself as protector of the city. And strangely, unlike most superhero parodies, everybody's 100% on board with him. I mean, he does get the occasional comment like, oh, Mysterion, you shouldn't be doing this, but no, most people actually love him. Since he actually does his job, and he actually knows how to gather intel, and he actually knows how to give back. Rather, it's Cartman who hates him and thinks he shouldn't be doing what he's doing, for the reasons I gave. Believe it or not, I actually hate repeating myself. And whereas the cops hated Cartman, well, they actually embraced Mysterion with open arms, their only rule being that they don't want to know his true identity, since then they would have to arrest him for being a vigilante. At least if he stays secret, they can all pretend like, oh, I don't know who he is, he's just a masked man. Which to me is why Commissioner Gordon never wanted to know who Batman was. Better to have plausible deniability if it helps the town and the place he's living in, and better to have distractions in place for when people want to know about that deniability factor.
I don't have time for this.
Fireworks are illegal in Colorado!
Actually, Cartman, I googled. Fireworks are not illegal in Colorado, per se. It depends on local ordinances. I mean, they're banned in Denver, but I assume in a small town like Colorado, nobody's really gonna care. From what I hear, major fireworks like 4th of July ones are banned in most cases outside of cities, although the smaller ones are usually allowed by permit. Okay, mayhaps Cartman has a point. Cartman starts to go on the defensive and accuse not just his classmates, but his own friends of being Mysterion.
I should have known! Why do you have a picture of Mysterion in your locker, Kenny? Unless you are Mysterion!
I'm not even gonna say anything.
I have a picture of Mysterion in my locker, too. Yeah, so do I.
Oh phew, I don't have to. Cartman decides he has no other option but to team up with his sworn archenemy, Professor Chaos, and also General Disarray. Oh my god, Simpsons did it! Simpsons did it! Wait, did they actually do this? A superhero team up, or just superheroes in general? I know they made a Whopper guy or something. Look, come on, I'm gonna level you guys. I want to make a Simpsons video about somebody other than Sideshow Bob so badly, I just don't know where to start, and I feel like I'll be ripping off Lydia if I do. Please give me ideas. The Coon teams up with Professor Chaos to try and uncover Mysterion's identity at Professor Chaos's secret lair.
This way! We will now show you our secret headquarters of doom!
You guys have your own storage facility?
Actually, it belongs to General Disarray's grandma, but she lets us use it.
I would love an actual episode from Professor Chaos's perspective outside of the ones we already have. Just saying, 9 times out of 10, Butters does nothing. It's just him playing pretend, really. What kind of wacky hijinks does he get into that involve a storage locker and sodas? Also, I think it's a fun running theme here that with the Mysterion episodes, the Coon always teams up with somebody else. Cartman doesn't want to admit he really can't do this on his own, so he'll claim all the credit when really it's just his name he's slapping on there and nothing else. Butters has at least deciphered that Mysterion is not Cartman. Oh my goodness, Butters, thank you for clarifying that. I was worried. Oh yeah, I should explain this part. A running gag throughout the episode, and pretty much just the Coon episodes in general, is that the characters often get Cartman confused with a dude named Bruce Valanche, who I established at the beginning of this video. I had no clue who he was beyond writing the Star Wars holiday special. Go watch Nostalgia Critics review. Apparently, Bruce Valanche was actually excited he was featured in South Park. In a Reddit AMA, he is quoted as saying, "What did you think of Cartman being mixed up for you on South Park? I was thrilled and flattered. I am also identified as a possible possible candidate for the Coon on a few other episodes, and I didn't have to sleep with anybody to get the shout out. Damn. Well, according to the DVD commentary for this episode, he apparently sent Matt and Trey a card thanking them for featuring him, which I just find so cute. Sorry if I'm going off track, but I always love when celebrities enjoy being featured in South Park, and they know, like, South Park doesn't mean them any harm in those cases. It's really quite an honor. Or a sign you majorly screwed up, 6 of 1. Elsewhere, we get confirmation that Mysterion is at least not Kyle.
I believe someone is trying to learn my true identity.
Dude, everyone's trying to figure out who you are.
I cannot be unmasked, for then I would stop being a symbol.
I want to say something so bad. No, I have a job to do. Professor Chaos tells the news that if Mysterion doesn't reveal his identity, well, that sucks. He's just gonna have to blow up a hospital.
I am going to blow up a hospital. Blow up a hospital? Well, I'm not gonna blow up any hospital. Are you nuts? What?
Butters, you clearly did not watch The Dark Knight, and it shows. You know, I was gonna say, I thought this episode came, like, before The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight, like, ripped off this episode, but no. So, yeah, I 100% headcanon that Cartman watched The Dark Knight, and because Cartman can't come up with original ideas on his own, he just stole it from the movie. Obviously, Butters doesn't want to blow up a hospital because some random kid won't say who he is during their game of dress-up. 19 children died, Butters, and the FBI knows it was you. But Cartman has his reasons.
If you don't make good on your threats, Chaos, then what good are your threats?
I mean, he kinda has a point. But that's why you gradually escalate the threat, Cartman. You start off small, and then if they don't do it, you act on it. And then you get a bigger threat and go from there if they keep not doing it. God, I thought you knew how this worked. General Disarray does make a good point, however. If Butters doesn't think he's so inclined to help Cartman, well, he is a supervillain after all. And don't supervillains portray superheroes? Good thing Butters doesn't have to think too hard about this because Mysterion shows up and starts to beat the crap out of him. The police show up to intervene, but...
This isn't your usual MO, Chaos.
Well, I just wanted this one, and then the Coon showed up, and I was
Again, what kind of shenanigans does Butters get up to when he's Professor Chaos? It kind of reminds me of the Monarch and Captain Sunshine. And funny story, Captain Sunshine is voiced by Kevin Conroy, aka the voice of Batman, and that one dude from Devil May Cry, RIP. During the struggle, Mysterion seems to die, but...
Wait! Look! He's alright!
Oh, foreshadowing for later, eh? Cartman beats up Butters until Mysterion puts a stop to it and decides that if this much strife has been caused by the issue of his identity, well, maybe he should just stop being a symbol and take full responsibility. So further things can't really happen.
I have no choice but to unmask myself.
Don't do it, Mysterion!
No, dude, what are you, stupid? Then Cartman wins! But despite this, and despite the fact that as the cops point out, he'll be arrested and probably just thrown in jail for the night, well, Mysterion goes ahead and reveals his identity.
Well, I'll be.
I knew it was you! Remember, I even said it before!
We'll get there, okay? We're almost there. If you couldn't tell by my nasally voice, because sometimes when I do this, my nose runs, we are almost there. The bullies arrest Mysterion, and Cartman insists this was his plan all along. Yeah, totally, Agatha, totally. And the episode ends.
Take the kid to jail.
My entire plan worked to perfection. My work here is done.
So, okay, let's get to that little who was Mysterion BS I've been leading you guys on with. It was Kenny. No, it wasn't. No, it freaking wasn't. Okay, the truth is a tad more complicated, okay? Funny story, okay? We're gonna talk about deleted scenes here. Originally, there was a deleted scene in the episode which revealed that Mysterion, at least during the ending scene, was Kyle. I'm not even kidding. Who did it to protect the identity of the real Mysterion.
Who, me? Why?
Because I think you are the smartest kid in class.
The one who got arrested and the one who Cartman's like, oh, I knew it was you, was Kyle. Hence that scene of Mysterion going to Kyle's house. It was meant to lead into the ending, even though now it's kind of like, if they deleted that, why not delete that part? It really leads to nothing. And when he was in prison, out of gratitude, the real Mysterion would show him his identity. However, just like the ending, he wouldn't actually see who it was. He would just lift up his mask and Kyle would be like, oh my god, I don't believe it. This deleted scene is special because it came very, very close to airing with the actual episode. Like, they even talk about it during the DVD commentary, like they must have thought it went to air with that scene. It just got cut for airing purposes, since it wouldn't fit into its time slot otherwise. I know the deleted scenes are all varying levels of canon, and 9 times out of 10, I do find them a fun kind of non-canon, but this is one of the few times I do consider a deleted scene to have happened in-universe, just off-screen so to speak. Because the real Mysterion, the guy who showed his identity to Kyle, it's Kenny. Oh, don't all be so shocked now. And no, it wasn't a big grand reveal for the show either. They just nonchalantly have the kids reveal it in part 2 of the Mysterion trilogy, like they all knew.
Dude, Kenny, chill out. Hey, if you insist, see ya, Kenny. Text me later, Kenny, if you want to, play basketball or something.
Which, in universe, I could see as Kyle just telling the boys, or being like, hey, you know Kenny was Mysterion, right, Cartman? My only real complaint is I think they could have pointed that out in universe, like maybe they could have pointed out the whole Kyle scene, but that's just South Park for you. See, Mysterion is a character that I feel falls under the umbrella of what I like to call the Elijah Michelson treatment, where kind of like the trope namer himself, or Evil Morty, he was never meant to be this big fleeting symbol of his show, just a quick one-and-done character, but the fan base kept demanding more and more and latched onto this dude, forming their own theories and everything, that Matt and Trey were pretty much forced to add him into the show because he was that iconic. Because the crew did not know who he was. Heck, Matt and Trey did not know who he was. They were never going to reveal his real identity at all. Like Mysterion pointed out, he was just meant to be a symbol, nothing more. For the longest time, Mysterion was the biggest mystery of the show next to Cartman's father. Who did I think it was? As in, who did I think Mysterion was? Well, I didn't get into South Park until around the time Reverse Cowgirl aired, so by then, it was pretty much an open secret. Heck, it was pretty much an established fact that Mysterion was Kenny. If I was around back then, I would have assumed it was just some random background kid in Mr. Garrison's class, who was apparently always there, like they would have photoshopped him in. It would have been like the token thing, like, oh, you don't remember him? Like, oh, you don't remember, like, little Billy? Of course, he was right there. From what I heard, quite a few people got it right that it was Kenny, mostly because of the hood aspect, because normally with Kenny, they don't show his full face anymore. They will show his face, but it'll usually be covered. I heard somebody say it was Clyde, because the reasoning they gave was Clyde fell asleep in class, and it could be a cool joke that superheroing would actually kind of suck in real life.
What we all need now... Clyde, could you wake up, please? This is important. What we all need now is proof that the Coon exists.
But Kenny was chosen for reasons I can't really decipher, but the reasons the Mysterion trilogy gave are actually pretty clever, not gonna lie. However, something happened. Season 14. Season 14, for one reason or another, likely because they were nearing the milestone of their 200th episode, had a lot of milestones happen for the show. The two-parter of 200 and 201 revealed that Cartman's biological father wasn't Leanne, it was Scott Tenorman's father, which cleared up a whole mystery for the show. And the other mystery, about who Mysterion was, well, we got the Mysterion trilogy, which finally gave us that answer. I got requests to review the trilogy for years and years, probably as far back as 2022, aka when I first started reviewing South Park, and I finally can get to it now. So, let's discuss. Part 1 of the Mysterion trilogy is the episode Coon 2, Hindsight. And admittedly, it's probably the weakest out of the trilogy. Which is weird because I feel in most trilogies, the first one is usually the best, the middle's the worst, and the last one is very hit or miss. But no, this is totally different. Part 1 opens up in Cartman's basement. He's recruited the boys into playing superheroes with him, and this includes him as the Coon, Kenny as Mysterion, Stan as Toolshed, Token as Tupperware, Timmy as Iron Maiden, Clyde as Mosquito, and Kyle is the human kite, K-I-T-E, just because they do say that in universe, so just letting you know. And the other member is Bradley Biggle, aka Henrietta the Goth Girl's brother. He's Midberry Crunch! And yes, I will likely be saying it like that for this whole video, just putting it out there. And outside of Kenny and Bradley, none of these characters will fulfill any major role beyond just being there. Yeah, it's another complaint I do have. They don't really play a role, I feel. I mean, they do give Mysterion, like, courage, and they help him at least once or twice, but most of these characters you could probably just cut and you'll be fine. But they do round out the cast and make for great cosplay, so make it that what you will. Just for reference, but I'll go back during certain scenes and say who their identities are, and or I'll use them interchangeably, just getting that out of the way for here, and now we are back to the episode. Carbon calls the meeting, and rather than discuss how to, lower crime or help out kids their age or any of that, they have to discuss why they're called Coon and Friends.
We all fight crime together. How come we're just your friends?
Yeah, we want to be called the Extreme Avenger League.
Yeah! Extreme Avenger League! I told you, Tupperware, Extreme Avenger League doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, the Coon being the head of the superhero team seems almost like bad PR, considering his debut episode where nobody likes him. It should really be like Mysterion and Friends. People do know who he is, but not for the reasons Cartman thinks. Would you work with guys who are associated with a guy who tried to blow up a hospital just to get back at one kid? But they are using Cartman's basement, so unfortunately, they're stuck with the name. With this out of the way, Cartman goes to debrief with Mintberry Crunch. I'm sorry, it's too fun an opportunity to pass up, okay? Just let me have this.
Mintberry Crunch, I'm just wondering if maybe you need to add something else to the Mintberry Crunch part of your costume.
Like milk?
No, not like milk.
You know, the milk part isn't such a bad idea considering how he's supposed to be mint and berries, but with a satisfying tasty crunch, not unlike cereal. I don't think you should have white on your costume. This is me. That would seem kind of weird, especially in a show like this. Do you want Cartman to mock you? Thankfully, Coon and Friends finally have something to do. There's a fire at an apartment complex in town, and several dozen people are trapped inside and they might die. They go trouble the Coon's butler, Leanne, which unfortunately isn't that far off from Leanne's real job, unfortunately. And it seems by this point that Leanne has finally grown a spine.
Don't talk to us like that, we're superheroes!
Eric, what have we talked about with that language? One more time and I'm not taking you anywhere.
I'm sorry, Mom. Can we go, please?
Good for you, Leanne. Good for you. Of course, when the kids get to the fire, the firemen won't let them do anything, because they're literal kids. What can they possibly do?
Kids, it isn't safe.
Eric, Poopsie?
Whatever's happening, you need help from the Coon.
And Friends!
Surprised they aren't shocked at Mysterion, all things considered. However, there is a superhero they do allow, probably because he is an adult. Captain Hindsight. Oh Christ on a stick. Not this guy. His arc is just so unfinished.
Was born when a freak accident gave him the amazing power of extraordinary hindsight. From toxic spills to unjust wars, there is no task too large for Captain Hindsight.
So Captain Hindsight's whole deal is that he has the gift of hindsight, hence the name. He doesn't actually solve problems, he just says what the problem was and how it could have been prevented in the first place.
You see those windows on the right side? They should have built fire escapes on those windows for the higher floors, then people could have gotten down.
Which admittedly is a funny superpower, but yeah, dude, you're not any real help. Carbon seems like he'd be more of a help than you. And after that, he just goes away like usual.
My job here is done. Goodbye, everyone! Thank you, Captain Hindsight! Thank you!
Dude, you have the gift of flight. Fly up and save those people. Don't lecture them oh, you shouldn't have done that. No, save them! I'll be honest, I hated Captain Hindsight in this episode even as a kid. More so than the reasons I was probably meant to by the episode. I hate him more now that I get to analyze him critically. Really, I just feel like his arc is so unfinished on top of that.
I mean, hello?
Hey, you guys are just repeating what that Hindsight guy said.
Well, yes, Stan. Captain Hindsight is our protector and guardian. We're just thankful he was there for that fire.
See, even Stan agrees with me. Stan's breakfast is interrupted by a Coon and Friends alert. Coon and Friends alert.
Coon and Friends alert.
What the hell is that? Who put that there?
Alert. Seriously.
I love this part, and I can 100% buy that Carbon put sirens in all of his friends' house. Just saying, he could do that. Did you not watch the 1% episode? That crap he got up to? Carbon wants to recruit Captain Hindsight since it would legitimize their superhero club. Nobody wants to go for it since, come on, they're just supposed to be doing it for fun, right? Yeah, that's why they trap Butters in Carbon's basement for days on end with nothing but a bucket full of body matter, right?
Could you let me out, please? It's been 6 days.
You aren't going anywhere, Chaos.
Yeah, but you only gave me this bucket to poop in, and it's full now. And I ain't got nothing to eat.
Oh, and I thought his parents sucked. Mysterion brings up that their best bet would be to wait for a disaster and get there and try to save the day or do something before Captain Hindsight. That way they can save the day before him and steal his thunder.
What could possibly be worse than a fire that kills 14 people?
Oh, Cartman, you beautiful idiot.
Oh, dear!
See, around the time the episode aired, the current event that everybody was talking about wasn't the recession, it was the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, aka the BP oil spill. It's considered the worst oil spill in history, with a total discharge at 4.9 million barrels, 11 people killed, 17 injured, and $65 billion in penalties, fines, and cleanup fees, while taking 87 days to properly seal the breach. And because I'm not a scientist and I don't want to spread any misinformation, that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. If you guys actually know anything about how it happened, then ELI5 down below. The BP's response to the tragedy is documented in the trilogy, with the CEO at the time saying,
"Are deeply sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry."
Fun fact, I thought they just made a generic CEO for the episode. No, that's really Tony Hayward. Like, he was really the CEO at the time. That's really what he looked like. Sorry, I love when South Park does that. Of course, I was a child when the disaster happened, so I didn't really know exactly what happened. I just remembered everybody talked about it. There was a lot of Baby Duck soap commercials, and even Beavis and Butthead got in on the action. Those poor chicks. Unfortunately, the boys can't get to the Gulf quick enough. They live in Colorado, and they can't fly. So Captain Hindsight beats them to the punch.
Now, if it's a valve that ruptured, then what they should have done is installed a backup valve in case that valve broke. I believe they did install a backup safety valve, Captain Hindsight.
Is he right? Like, I'm not a scientist, I have no frame of reference. Again, if you guys know anything, ELI5 down below. Instead, Carbon decides to simply go to Captain Hindsight's mansion and ask him to join, which isn't a bad plan. I mean, like, they could just call him or email him, but I think that's a little bit better. Although, how do they know where he lives? Like, are you even a good superhero in that case? Like, you're not protecting your identity. You don't even hide your identity. Hindsight refuses to actually help out.
So, anyways, if you want to just start filling out the form, we'll get you enrolled in Coon and Friends right away.
Look, I'm sorry, kid, but I work alone.
I'm surprised Hindsight did not give Cartman any form of hindsight. Like, well, maybe in hindsight, you should have known that I famously work alone, or something like that. However, this is probably one of the few times I feel bad for Captain Hindsight, because honestly, I feel that really is a curse. You know how a tragedy could have been prevented, but only after the tragedy happened. That would actually make a pretty good movie. It's not like Cassandra where you know what'll happen and nobody will believe you. It's a different kind of screwed up. Rather than just take the rejection or reframe his offer, Carbon decides to blackmail Captain Hindsight with pictures of him sleeping with Courtney Love.
Coon Vision on. All we need to do is get pictures of Captain Hindsight naked with Courtney Love. Then we'll tell him if he doesn't join us, we'll put them on the internet.
What's so bad about that? Is she gonna, like, murder him or something? And also, I found out today she is actually still alive. Good for her.
You want us to take naked pictures of Butter to use as blackmail? That doesn't sound very superhero-like.
That's because you think small, Mosquito. You have a tiny little mosquito brain. That's why you don't come up with the plans.
Cartman, I think the fact Captain Hindsight was taking pictures with Butters is worse in that regard because Butters is like a literal child. Kind of funny you tried that same thing with PC Principal and you failed even then too. If anything, you failed even worse there. You just don't learn, do you? Of course, everybody else rejects the plan too. And we all know Cartman is just awesome sauce when it comes to accepting criticism. Even if anything, Mysterion is a way better leader since he actually lets others talk and express their feelings on the matter, and he doesn't really shoot down their plans. Since they're a team, not one dude and his many subordinates.
I think we should help raise money for the relief aid by having a bake sale. I have a recipe for lemon bars from my mom. We could wear our costumes outside the grocery store and sell lemon bars, which would be a good deed and help people.
I never tried lemon bars, but this episode strangely makes me want to. And hey, it's not a bad plan. It gives them good PR that Captain Hindsight doesn't have. Yes, he's a hero, but most of the time he's just cooped up in his mansion. At least you would be out there helping, even if in small ways. With everybody defying Cartman, he decides to take matters into his own hands, or rather claws, and reenact that one scene from Clockwork Orange and eviscerate the living F out of his supposed friends. Because that is precisely what heroes do, guys.
Well, now we're back to normal. Just like before and all forgotten, right?
Right.
Cute.
That just sounds like abuser talk. No wonder Heidi left you. The disaster in the Gulf of Mexico only gets worse as Cthulhu, the Dark Lord, rises from the depths of the oil spill.
The rise of Cthulhu from another dimension brings about 3,000 years of darkness, Tom, where we will all be driven to madness and made to serve as Cthulhu's cultist slaves.
Guys, okay, I'm a goth and I love shoggoths. They're some of my favorite demons. Cthulhu is like everybody's goth baby ever. Oh my god, thank you, Matt and Trey, for getting goth stuff right. You have no idea how much this and the goth kids mean to me. Like, I got into Cthulhu all because of this episode. I mean, H.P. Lovecraft wasn't the nicest person, but he sure knew how to write his own fictional universe.
As president of DP Oil, I want to say, we're sorry.
Yes, and how are you going to fix it? Anyhow, they go ahead with Cartman's plan of blackmailing Captain Hindsight, and he can't grasp he wasn't the one in the pictures.
I shouldn't have drank that much, and I shouldn't have mixed alcohols. Alcohol shouldn't be legal. Oh, it's maddening!
Some gift of hindsight, dude. This is the breaking point for Cartman's friends, who decide to once and for all kick him out of Coon and Friends, because he's a word that starts with a D and rhymes with sick. And they aren't wrong, did you not watch this video? Cartman protests, especially since they would still be using his house. Thankfully, unlike Jack Brolin, they have the gift of hindsight and went ahead and asked Leanne to personally remove Cartman from his own clubhouse.
Eric, you do not beat up your friends, and I told you I've had it with your language. Your punishment is that your friends will just play superheroes without you. Go to your room.
You gotta be kidding me!
Wow, finally being a mother, eh? Also, the BP Oil Company drilled on the moon, which released Cthulhu.
The oil company stated that it knew a portal to another dimension was there, but didn't think drilling into it would prove problematic.
Okay, I was wrong. First it was the Eldritch Horrors, and now Cthulhu himself. Both were bad, but I must have written them out of order, my mistake. And this leads into part 2, Mysterion Rises, which is the first episode to give Mysterion any sort of depth and finally reveal his true identity as Kenny, even if I feel they could have done it in the first one, albeit I think they sort of did by featuring everybody but Kenny. Process of elimination and all, it's just... In his comic book theme intro, Mysterion tells the viewer that while the other boys just see superheroing as effectively glorified cosplay, well, it's not that way for him. Unlike them, he actually does have a superpower, one we'll get to later. And since I probably won't get another chance for it, I do love the framing device of the trilogy, how they have these comic book segments. My personal favorite is when Cartman's at the airport and he harasses a girl who actually prefers Mintberry Crunch over him.
Do you know Mintberry Crunch? What's he like?
And he frames it in his mind as the girl was a supervillain attacking him, not just like an innocent girl who asked a question.
Evil girl villain fought with all her might, but the Coon was too much for her. As people looked on and cheered for the Coon, he clawed and punched the villain's stupid fat face.
Yes, what an evil child. While selling lemon bars, the boys are confronted by a mysterious, shadowy man, who for reference we'll call Professor Venomous because shadowy figure seems too cliche for me. Professor Venomous tells them that Cthulhu will rise and take over the world, there's nothing they can do, yada yada yada.
Hail, Cthulhu! The darkness of the mythos is finally here. Oh man, these are really good lemon bars.
Okay, should I be eating lemon bars? I've never had them and I don't know where to start. For the record, I think I'm a pretty adventurous eater, guys. I did try monkey bread at Shake Shack and they should take it off the breakfast menu and put it on the all-day menu because it's so good. Coon and Friends missing a coon return to their base of operations only to find it torn up. Not by Cartman, who is busy waiting for a flight to New Orleans to go fight the Gulf Crisis, but rather Captain Hindsight, who thanks to Cartman's machinations has hit rock bottom and become a full-blown problem-drinking drinker.
Never mixed vodka and Jack Daniels. I should have just gone to bed last night.
I also like how he's drinking Macallan. In the last episode, he said he shouldn't have, and yet he figured screw it, and he did it anyway. Really shows you what kind of a guy he is. Captain Hindsight holds the boys at gunpoint and demands the pictures. Pictures they didn't take and aren't guilty for.
Chaos! Why did you take those pictures?
But the Coon said if I took the pictures, he'd let me go home, and I've missed like 4 days of school now.
Okay, maybe Butters did something good. Although, imagine how grounded he's gonna be when he gets home. There's no some Puerto Rican guy to save him this time. They try to tell him they aren't responsible, but he doesn't listen, so Mysterion has to go on the defensive.
If you don't believe us, then you don't have a choice. Pull the trigger, you...
Dude, it's not that serious, you're just playing pretend. Mysterion sends the others away so he can have a chat with Captain Hindsight in private and reveal some pretty sensitive information. Like Captain Hindsight, he's afflicted with a curse of his own, a superpower if you would. But unlike Captain Hindsight, nobody knows about it.
I can't die. I've experienced death countless times. Sometimes I see a bright light, sometimes I see heaven or hell, but eventually, no matter what, I wake up in my bed.
Okay, a few things. I think this is why the Coon trilogy is so well remembered. It's a great throwback to classic comic books, and it's a great character study in addition. See, up to this point, Kenny's death was just a running gag. An unexplained running gag for the most part, but for most people, well, South Park is a cartoon, so you're probably willing to excuse it. However, there have been times when Kenny's death is played dead straight, pun not intended. Like when he's put on life support so the show can comment on Terry Schiavo. Even in a season 2 episode, they just had Kenny die and respond. Or the most notable in the episode Kenny Dies, which kicked off a season-long plotline of him being brought back and even briefly sharing a body with Cartman. Or the South Park movie, the entire war with Canada was kicked off by Kenny's death. However, as is a common theme, nobody really remembers Kenny dying. Or if he comes back to life, they treat it the same way Phineas and Ferb treat Perry, like, oh my god, you were dead. Wait, you were gone? Oh, I didn't even notice.
Go to school the next day, and everyone is just like, oh, hey, Kenny. Even if they had seen me get decapitated with their own eyes.
And for Kenny, that stings because 1, he doesn't know why it happens to him, and 2, every time Kenny dies, he feels all of those deaths. Every single one. And he remembers every single death, but nobody else does. Yeah, that rhymes. Actually, one complaint I will give against the episode, one person does remember constantly, and that's Cartman. More frequently, it's like a background joke. Cartman is the only one to actually care to remember, like in Cartman Land.
Also, the lawsuit of the little boy who died in your park, the family's entitled to the rest of this.
What, Kenny? He dies all the time!
I always wondered why that was, like if he's the anti-Kenny or something, but the show never elaborates and neither does the episode, which is unfortunate, but imagine how funny that would be, especially considering how in part 3, the two of them do kind of get like a confrontation of sorts. The one person who always remembers is the one dude who does not care about Kenny at all, yet he also does to such a degree that he considers him his best friend. However, I do want to point out this isn't the only episode to bring it up, and I don't know if when writing it, Matt and Trey were aware of that or not, because they have made the point in the past they don't really care to remember their continuity or their lore. In Cherokee hair tampons, Kyle is dying and he needs a kidney transplant, but Sheila decides to trust holistic medicine even if it's just a scam that is continuing to slowly kill him. And while Stan is rightfully upset that his best friend will die, well, Kenny is kind of pissed that his own deaths mean nothing to him.
My friend is gonna die. He's gonna die and there's nothing I can do about it. Oh god, it's a mess.
Oh, poor Kenny. While this is going on, Cartman and Cthulhu have a moment together. Cartman tries to face Cthulhu, not to tell him to stand down, but to tell him he's doing a good job and he wants revenge against his former friends. But Cthulhu doesn't even think that he's worth it, and he just lets him go.
Dude, Colorado is that way. Where are you going?
Reminder that Cthulhu is the Dark Lord who wants to cause chaos and misery. Just letting you live and ignoring you is the ultimate slap in the face. Tony Hayward, Captain Hindsight, and Mysterion all try to decide what to do next. Tony Hayward decides to double down on his apologies, while Captain Hindsight removes his gifts. And Cartman...
Should I admit I was wrong? Ask for everyone's forgiveness and go back to my original team? Nah, screw that. I'm just gonna keep being a...
Well, at least you admit it. The other members of Coon and Friends start researching what Professor Venomous told them, and they find information on the Necronomicon, a real-life book and grimoire by H.P. Lovecraft.
The Necronomicon contains an account of the old ones, their history, and the means for summoning them. It is used by cults around the world, most notably the cult of Cthulhu.
That was also in the Wikipedia entry for the Necronomicon. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just copy and pasted it, considering how Inception came right before. Among other things, the work contains an account of the old ones, their history, and the means for summoning them. However, I learned this while researching the episode. Unfortunately, the Necronomicon itself, like the one that all the works say, like, oh, the work of the devil and all that, yeah, it's not real, per se. I mean, it's a real thing in the Lovecraft lore world in the Cthulhu universe, but a real book written by H.P. Lovecraft himself, yeah, it's not real. If you actually find a book like that, it's not real. And I was so sad when I learned that. So was H.P. Lovecraft. He was super disappointed that fans would ask libraries, like, where can I get this book? Because they didn't realize he effectively wrote a hoax. A really good one, but a hoax nonetheless. So if you're at a Barnes & Noble and you find one, it's probably fake or just a collection of H.P. Lovecraft stories. Since H.P. Lovecraft never wrote one and he never intended to write one. Coon and Friends discover that there is a cult of Cthulhu in South Park, which is led by Professor Venomous. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Friends, and some of its members included Carol and Stuart, aka Kenny's parents. Oh good, they finally have focus again, kind of great. Cartman has finally decided his plan to get Cthulhu on his side is to manipulate him using squitches and wub, and pull on my neighbor Totoro.
You're a sleepy man, ne? Cthulhu? Who needs a tummy rub?
Wow, Mentray are anime fans? That is awesome. Because, you know, the episode 1% was also like an anime plotline they stole, right? Thank God they never covered Grave of the Fireflies. It's a typical Tuesday, and Stuart and Carol are fighting over drugs, only to be stopped by Mysterion.
Hey, look, we did what you told us. We treat our kids better and we don't beat each other up as much.
And we gave our sons allowances and stopped getting high every night.
Okay, another thing. Yes, I do want to talk about the foster family episode later in the video, since I feel I always talk about the poor kid in terms of Cartman or the agnostics, but I've never really talked about Mysterion in terms of it. In that episode, we learned that Kenny was effectively the glue that held his family together, a pattern that gets repeated in the city part of town where he tries to get a job in spite of his father's protests. With this episode, we learned that, yes, Kenny was able to use his Mysterion persona to get his parents to clean up their act, if only a little, and it makes you wonder just how long this was going on for. Also, another reminder to Matt and Trey, or any South Park crew member watching this, if you're watching this video, little reminder, Kenny has an older brother who's around Shelly's age. His name is Kevin, and we know next had nothing about him beyond the fact he's about Shelly's age. And yes, the crew does remember he exists considering certain episodes. Maybe it would be a little redundant to do an episode on him at this point, but you always wonder. I mean, South Park is all about expanding their worldview. Also, BTW, keep in mind that the cult meeting Carol and Stuart got arrested at happened 10 years ago, and Kenny explicitly states at the beginning of this episode that he's 9.
Though only 9 years old, I dedicate my life to helping people.
They state they don't remember anything, they only went to the meeting for the free beer.
They just used to offer free beer at their meetings, so we would go.
Really? Free beer? Where are the creepy goth cults near me that nobody told me about? I would totally go for free beer. But they don't go anymore.
Where they always did. Jim McElroy's house.
They used to meet every Friday night. I think they still do.
Wait a minute, is Chef behind this? I mean, that's literally his last name. And how else did the Super Adventure Club bring him back from the dead? Actually, that makes sense. Maybe they worked for them, I don't know. Coon and Friends infiltrate the meeting of the Cult of Cthulhu and find a bunch of callback characters. Mr. Adler, at least he's not screwing around. He's probably doing it to find a way to bring back his deceased gal pal. Those computer geeks from 4th grade because nerds cross over, and oh my gosh, my heart. The goth cats, oh my God.
I'm stoked that Cthulhu's gonna squash all the happy-go-lucky conformists.
Yeah, I just hope he puts an end to the Disney Channel.
Oh my God, but you're conforming by attending a cult meeting in some dude's basement, guys.
Dark Lord Cthulhu's gonna make us go to school?
No, Cthulhu just wants chaos, bedlam, and madness.
Who the F and H is that?
Oh, my dog. Wow. Just be glad it's not a wannabe emo and you're not at the Fall Out Boy concert. They hear a sermon by Professor Venomous.
That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons, even death may die.
Okay, so another tribute to Matt and Trey's research, or likely knowing goth people at Goth IHOP or whatever, that is a real line. That's a real line from H.P. Lovecraft by the fictional Matt poet Abdul Al-Hazarad. They say it in the episode.
It was written by a mad prince who knew of the nightmare city of Ralia.
Who is said in the H.P. Lovecraft mythos to have written the Necronomicon. If you couldn't tell, I'm geeking out so hard. Again, I don't know if they actually knew all this or if they just did the Wikipedia summaries or whatever, but I applaud them.
What does it mean? That is not dead which can eternal lie.
And with strange eons, even death may die.
I don't know, you figure it out. You Justin, Ken, Barbie, poser, conformist wannabe. You think you're a superhero, actually do the superhero work. And my name is Moxane, and I love hot pink. Or go on Yahoo Answers while you still have it, because it existed back then. After the meeting, the goth kids are confronted by Mysterion, who demands answers.
It means Cthulhu is gonna get rid of all the posers and make everything cool and black and stuff. It's gonna be like a 9 Inch Nails concert that goes on forever.
That low-key sounds kind of awesome. Oh, don't show me a good time or anything. Mysterion presses on, but Furkle has other ideas.
And I will watch the crimson blood leak from your neck.
Dude, that little kid is hardcore goth.
Hardcore goth?
Oh, I love that little cough in a non-weird way, of course. But it's gonna hurt when he finally becomes a traitor emo. Professor Venomous says that the Goth kids need to kill Mysterion in the name of Cthulhu, but Pete has some objections.
What? Dude, I don't want to kill anybody.
Pete, just do it, then maybe you'll get some red in your hair, and people will stop saying that stuff about the blood demons, you poser.
Ugh, whatevs.
Good little cough. Coon and Friends try to stop them, but they're too late, and Kenny is dead. For all of 5 seconds, you know the drill by now.
Dude, Kenny, what'd you run away for? We gotta fight these guys!
Yeah, come on, get your costume on!
I know, dude, I know. Don't worry, that means we can move on to part 3, the final part. Coon versus Coon and Friends. When it's honestly just Coon versus Mysterion. Like, they should have called it that. Yeah, I did like part 2 a bit more. It's probably my favorite out of all these episodes, because I feel it builds on some stuff, and it does give us a lot of answers and a lot of questions. And I also do like the Cthulhu song where Cartman, I'll listen to it on my own time, I am perfectly honest. With part 3, is it a thrilling conclusion? Well, let's check it out. This episode focuses on Bradley Bagel, aka Mintberry Crunch.
Shablagoo!
He brings us up to speed and then goes to his base of operations, where even if the other Coon and Friends are more friendly about it than Cartman, they still don't know what the hell he's supposed to be or what the hell he's supposed to be doing there. I mean, he barely really hangs out with them, really. I mean, what's Tupperware's whole gimmick? Or even Kyle's, because his name I didn't really get until I started scriptwriting. Kenny's death last night has caused him to double down on his efforts to prove that his superpower really is a superpower and not a curse, and not just something he made up for funsies.
When was that?
All the time! I die all the time! And you never remember!
I think we would remember you dying, dude.
Well, you don't!
Wow, dude. But I get it. Cherokee hair tampons was just the tip of the iceberg. The sad part is that Kenny does try to get them to focus, and none of them remember anyways, even after seeing him die again.
You guys have no memory of me shooting myself in the head, do you?
What?
Oh boy. Although I've always wondered, what if he took a picture or a video of his death? Would it just disappear or alter itself? That's something fun they could have explored. Cartman finally makes it home, intent on sicking Cthulhu on his former friends, but Leanne is there to make sure he's extra grounded. And because Cartman knows he can't just sick Cthulhu on her because she feeds him, well, he tries the LeBron James technique. Wait, what?
What should I do?
What?
What should I do? Should I admit I've made mistakes? Should I say I've done this before? Should I write a song about how I should have stayed in my room?
Wait, is that why they had that whole speech last episode? Cartman goes to fake apologize to the kids using the LeBron James technique and the promise of a double rainbow, the latter of which, as we all know, are quite rare.
Guys, you don't see them often, but there's one outside right now. You gotta come see!
A double rainbow? Shablagoo!
Only to entrap them via Cthulhu, except for Mintberry Crunch, because Mintberry Crunch is awesome like Hey, with Butters locked in a cage, they need somebody to pick on, and this isn't Captain Planet. With Coon and Friends out of the way, now it's solely just Coon with his one friend, and he's not even a friend if we're being honest, Cartman gets to work making the world a better place for nobody else but him, which involves murdering thousands of people, including Justin Bieber, and destroying San Francisco, Burning Man, and countless synagogues.
Now, most of the synagogues destroyed San Francisco, sent my friends into a dark oblivion, and so our next order of business will be Burning Man.
Okay, so more like millions. My count was way off. Heck, my new estimate is probably still way off. Back in the Dark Oblivion from whence they're at, which is basically just like a little city under the water, which if you've read Cthulhu, that's actually very accurate. The team realizes they're trapped, but thankfully, they have a way out. Mysterion can die, wake up in his bed, and hopefully save the day or free them. He dies, wakes up in his bed, and then goes to get answers, probably knowing nobody will actually remember him. His first step is the Goth Kids' headquarters, where they're crestfallen that nothing much has changed with Cthulhu around.
Not our god. He promised everything would change if we worshipped him, but we're still sitting here smoking cigarettes like before. It's like Obama all over again.
Well, the reason for that is because he joined up with Cartman. If it weren't for that, you'd probably get your wish. Sorry to burst your bubble, your goth bubble. Plus, maybe you can go out there and submit to the Dark Lord Cthulhu yourself, but no, that would involve conforming and not smoking.
We worshipped and prayed to Cthulhu, went to all the cult meetings, but life is still totally freaking gay.
I thought that when Cthulhu rose from the depths, all was gonna be darkness and pain. I thought at least school would be canceled.
Actually, that's a good point. I know they probably didn't do it due to being, like, short on time, but when you think about it, it's a little weird that the cult just disappears. Like, Professor Venomous just stabs Kenny, and then he's gone. It's not like, oh, hey, Cthulhu, stop! Like, he doesn't even renounce Cthulhu the same way the goth kids are. The rest of the cult just, like, scattered to the winds. Henrietta and the other goths tell Kenny about some more Cthulhu lore, and Mintberry Crunch is revealed to be her brother.
Will you guys paint with me?
Don't want you here.
Please, can I get... Mysterion, what's going... That's okay, sis. I'll play with you another time.
Since nobody noticed, he just went home to go watch Judge Judy. Really, dude? I mean, as a kid, Judge Judy scared the crap out of me. She was the boogeyman that guided my behavior, her and Randall from Monsters, Inc. However, the most important takeaway here, the only thing that can destroy an immortal is another immortal. Meaning that for all intents and purposes, Kenny might be the only one who can stop Cthulhu.
Mintberry Crunch isn't afraid of his fat sister. Grab her legs, Mysterion. Mysterion? Oh, crap.
He goes off to fight Cthulhu despite Bradley's protests. When Carbon still refuses to listen, Mysterion offers himself in exchange for his friends.
Bring back my friends! Take me!
Mysterion, no! What are you doing?
Only an immortal can kill another immortal! Here's your prize!
Yeah, noble dude, but immortal or not, why would Cthulhu want to kill one dude over like a dozen? Cthulhu, with encouragement from Cartman, leaves, but Kenny is saved thanks to the magic of the Deus Ex Machina. A dude who totally isn't Superman's dad tells Kenny that he's an alien who gets his powers from beyond the stars. His real name is Gokzara, and well, another little caveat.
Power of mint and berries, yet with a tasty, satisfying crunch.
Yes, please go on.
Oof, sorry, Kenny. But good on you, Bradley. That strangely makes sense. What with why you're never meant to be there, why you can't understand humans, and why you look nothing like your sister or mother. And to think I thought Harriet Biggle had an affair. That conformist bag of Damon. Bradley embraces being Mintberry Crunch and defeats Cthulhu with his powers while also rescuing his friends and fixing the BP oil spill. Who is he, Tabitha Johansson? For his crimes, Carbon is locked up and given Butters' exact punishment, karma.
You're not going anywhere for a long time.
This is inhumane. There's a big bucket with Butter's poop in here, and there's nothing to eat. You got poop, don't you?
While Mintberry Crunch leaves to discover his own origins. Oh yeah, BTW, he never comes back. I mean, I think he comes back in the video game, but in the main show itself, he doesn't come back outside of a quick comic book-like cameo, which is surprising. You'd think at least Henrietta would mention him, like, Henrietta, where's your brother? Oh my god, Michael, he's in space or some crap playing fairy tales. Surprised we don't get at least one episode or maybe a short or something focusing on him, the same way they did with Starvin' Marvin. And Kenny finally accepts that nobody will ever realize he has powers, and he will never truly get answers about his origins. So he accepts he'll use his powers for good as a way to avoid having to walk home. But as soon as he's dead, well, we switch over to his parents. His mother wakes up with massive stomach pains, and a few minutes later, we transition to Kenny's room.
We should have never gone to that stupid cult meeting.
So if you didn't get it, that just means that whenever Kenny dies, he just gets reborn by his mother and grows overnight to his kid self, and it's become so routine for his parents that they just treat it like another chore. The reason the episode gives is that it's a result of the cult meetings, as they likely did something to Carol while she was drunk. Although we do see a photo in Henrietta's room of like these hooded figures over a baby, so maybe they took Kenny there once and that's what happened. But it's a good explanation, I feel, for why Kenny can't die in his constant power. They just wait for him to come back. And when you think about it, this isn't an infinite power. When Carol goes through menopause or she gets old and dies, well, Kenny's not going to come back. So it's something he's likely only going to have to deal with for a couple more years. Plus, the power of an immortal is likely whatever the plot needs, and Kenny has canonically been to all types of afterlives, so I like to tell myself he just alters it when he's there. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into it. I'm moving on. So the Mysterion trilogy does live up to its reputation. It does, and I think it's the best trilogy South Park has done. But I don't want to repeat myself, so let's just finish off with the last two episodes. The first is The Poor Kid, aka the one where Kenny and his siblings get put into foster care. His sister Karen is adjusting the worst, and so Kenny brings out his Mysterion persona to act as a guardian angel.
No matter what you do, I will always be here. Do you understand?
I'll try, guardian angel.
Don't try, Karen. Do.
Aww, not just that! he beats up a bully on her behalf, and when his foster parents turn out to be actually abusive, he gets them in trouble via giving them a pass blue ribbon.
It was like a little mystery person flying around.
Almost like some kind of agnostic angel.
Little agnostic angel, more like a serious angel. Then there's the Facebook episode, aka franchise prequel. By this point, the Coon and Mysterion have long since reconciled, and even invited a few more superheroes into their way of life. Like Jimmy is Flash Pass, Tweak is Wonder Tweak, Craig is Super Craig, and that's it really. I mean, there are more in the video games, since that episode was meant to be a prequel, hence the name, but hey. This time, the main conflict comes down to the idea of the group trying to sell themselves to Netflix back when everybody did that type of thing.
It's in the hole. Whoa, wait, how come we gotta start off with a Netflix series? Can't we just go right into movies? Netflix is starving for new shows right now, Toolshed. They will literally buy anything people pitch them.
Oh yeah, maybe you should try Paramount Plus. Wait, is there even a streaming service that treats its shows well? No? Oh boy. But there's a problem. Their reputation is at a bust. Not because of anything anybody actually did, Carbon included, but because of some rumors being spread on Facebook by Professor Chaos.
You can't just make stuff up about us. People are thinking it's true. Look, fellas, you have a right to be on Facebook, and I have a right to be on Facebook. And sometimes that's gonna cause a little chaos.
Oh, look at Butters, for the first time actually doing something bad, while also being very nice to the dudes under his employ. Finally, he's a proper supervillain, and I love it.
Everyone, can I have your attention, please? We have a new agent of chaos. Please welcome Adam Bork. Here you go. You can take this workstation, Adam.
Wait, where's General Disarray? The town's scandal forces the townsfolk to summon Mark Zuckerberg, who is the bastard child of an anime character and a computer program.
Well, you did create a platform with a monetary incentive for people to spread misinformation.
Now I see you're trying to use your style over mine.
Butters, you really did it now. You summoned Cain. Thankfully, they are able to outdo Mark Zuckerberg by using Facebook to their advantage.
We are just kids trying to have our voices heard for black, handicapped, and Jewish rights. Cut down in our prime by Mark Zuckerberg.
The one time Cartman was politically correct outside of Stunning and Brave, and by telling on Butters to Steve and Chris and that one guy who runs Russia.
I hope you're both very satisfied with the damage you've caused, because you're both grounded!
Steve and Chris, we need you now more than ever. But even if they bonded with that doesn't fix that they have no idea how the roadmap for a Coon cinematic universe will work, leading to civil war.
I thought Civil War wasn't supposed to happen until Phase 3. Shut up, Super Craig!
And that's it. Go play the video game. It's on the Switch. I can't talk anymore. Trust me, you'll love it. Anyhow, bye!